Welcome to Make You Remarkable, brought to you by Oconee State Bank, the podcast that's all about unleashing your inner leader and making an impact on your community. Get ready for a wild ride of inspiration, education, and a whole lot of fun. Each week, we sit down with local legends, business owners, and influential minds to talk about their journey, their impact, and the secrets behind their incredible success. This is not your ordinary bank podcast. We're here to bring the energy, the laughs, and the aha moments that'll leave you itching to conquer the world. Now get ready to make your remarkable with your host, JT Tomlin.
Welcome back to Make You Remarkable. I'm your host, Neil Stevens, today, and I'm joined by my good friend here, Duke Gibbs. Duke, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome, my friend.
Happy to be here. It's an honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, first time that we met was in, I want to say, Chops and Hops. Clint Watson runs Creed Fitness there. I know you guys have done some business together, and he said, I got a guy you got to meet. His name's Duke Gibbs, and so I know we went to lunch one day, and I had the opportunity to talk with you about some things that you have going on, and so that was about 7 years ago, because that was when I first came to Oconee State Bank, and a lot has happened in that period of time, I know, in your career since then, so we want to kind of dive into that today, for sure, but why don't we begin by letting the listeners hear a little bit of background on you and kind of how you got your start, maybe early on in your life, and how you ended up in the Oconee, Athens area, and how you got into real estate and things of that nature. So
sure.
Share with us, please.
So originally from South Georgia, grew up in Tifton. My parents were both public school educators. My dad was a basketball coach and a middle school principal. My mom was a teacher. I had two younger siblings, one brother, one sister, and just had a fantastic family, southern rural life upbringing. Ended up after high school going to Georgia College and State University at the time in Milledgeville on a basketball scholarship. I played there all 4 years, had a great experience.
Let me interject right there for just a minute, and not to detract from your story, but what did you learn from playing college sports? I've talked to a lot of college athletes, and they were saying like that's one of the best experiences of my life, even though I didn't make it any further than maybe college. Just the things that I picked. What are 2 or 3 things that you picked up from that?
Well, the first one by a long shot is work ethic. Because if you work ethic and discipline, because you get thrown into a full-time job as an 18-year-old immediately. College athletics is probably more than 8 hours a day. Between study hall, weight training, early morning workouts, afternoon practices, you are full. And so you learn the value of being disciplined, and then the work ethic, the biggest, there's so many. Teamwork, teamwork is another huge one, the value of a team. But you gotta, there's no shortcuts once you get to that level. You have to put in the work.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Playing high school sports is one thing, and not to take away from any high school athlete. I think all those things are in play. But to take it to the next level at the collegiate level, I mean, that you have to have those, because everybody's good at that point, right? When you get to that level and to be able to maintain. So little rabbit trail there. So grew up in a basketball family, played 4 years at Georgia College there. So after college, what was your major, and then what happened after that?
Yeah, so graduated with a degree in business management, and knew that I liked business. I really didn't have a clear direction as to what I wanted to do in business. Certainly had no family business or anything to jump into. And so had a few little side hustles going on while I was in college. I was selling cell phones and long distance service on the side, and loved, sales and business and all the aspects of it. But, I also always had a passion for architecture and always had a bit of a creative bent. I love drawing. There was a time where I thought I wanted to be an architect until I figured out that Georgia College didn't have an architecture program. And so I said, okay, I'll figure something else out. But can remember even at an early age when I was riding around, looking at houses and looking at buildings and kind of admiring the aesthetics and the architecture. And so jumped into the real estate world by almost happenstance. A good friend of mine from early on, Jeremy Hobbs, I ran into him a few months after graduating, and we got to talking, and I said, what are you up to? And this was 2004, and as you well know, the real estate market in 2004 was really hot.
Oh, yeah.
And so I like to say the barriers to entry were low at that time, primarily because of the loose lending practices going on. And I'm actually grateful for that time because when I think back, I may not be in the real estate business were it not for some of that kind of stuff.
A lot of banks around aren't very grateful, but but good for you, though.
Yeah,
that was a good time.
So Jeremy was basically a land wholesaler. So he was going around and meeting with original landowners, getting their properties under contract, and then doing a lot of what we call the dirty work, the entitlements, taking the properties through rezonings and getting site plans put on them, and doing a lot of the precursor work before development happens, and then package up those properties and sell them to developers so that they can then go and develop them. So that sounded exciting to me, so I said, yeah, let's do it. So I jumped in with him. We became business partners, and that's how we got started.
This show is about making you remarkable, which is really about marking the lives of others, and that's what we try to do at the bank every day. Give some examples of some things that you made your mark, and kind of what drives you along those lines as you serve other people in the real estate business.
Real estate is really important. If you think about it, we all live in homes. We all go to work. A lot of us go to work in some other place. So places are important. And most of us spend most of our time indoors in a building that was built by someone. And so I've always had a passion of creating spaces, places of work, homes that are exceptional. And before you even get to that, I've always loved the creativity component of what I do. And so I love taking spaces and turning them into kind of envisioning a place that someone could call home and truly feel at home, or someone could truly love to go to every morning at work. Yeah,
it's an essential part of life, right? I mean, we're sitting in a building right now that someone had the vision to build, and there is an architect involved. There are plans being drawn, and so it definitely has an impact on the lives of people for sure. And it sounds like you found a lot of your passion, visioning what that could look like, and then helping people maybe achieve their dreams through real estate, which is really cool. I want to get to Wire Park here in a few minutes because I know that's the hot thing you got going right now. That's an incredible facility that you have there. And I'm sure our listeners want to hear more about that and what's going on. But prior to Wire Park, talk a little bit about the types of things that you did, maybe some of the projects that you worked on, and that sort of thing that kind of give the listeners a little bit more about your specific background in real estate.
Sure. So we've done a little bit of everything, but the majority of what we have done is what we call redevelopment. So it's taking either old pieces of property, or defunct buildings, or homes that are in need of renovation, or even completely new use, and we take those properties and we do major renovation projects and bring them up to new shiny condition. So the project that I'm still to this day most proud of is the one that helped me survive the Great Recession. And it's called Heritage Motor Coach Resort and Marina in Orange Beach, Alabama. And that property was an 8.5 acre old mobile home park that was abandoned on Canal Road on the bay in Orange Beach on the water. And I rode by the property in 2005 while the broker was putting the sign up, nailing the sign in the ground. And I stopped and asked him about it, and we got talking and ended up purchasing the property and designed and built a 79 unit and 42 boat slip Class A motor coach resort and marina on the property. So that was a very fun project, a very challenging project because we built it through the 2009 timeframe, as you probably can still remember.
Remember it
what's
well.
going on there.
Oh yeah.
And God really had His hand on that project for us, and I'm just still grateful for how it turned out because it ended up being a great success. It was featured on the Travel Channel as one of the premier RV destinations in the United States.
And we're talking here because I have had a little bit of experience with these. We're not talking about the camper you pull behind your pickup truck. I mean,
that's right.
You're talking about like $1 million plus motor coaches.
That's right.
Right. I mean, these are like luxurious. I mean, this is a high end product.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it obviously is on water because you have your RV there, and then I suppose a boat that you have with the RV.
That's right.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was a fun project. After I completed that, moved to the Athens area, moved to Oconee County, married a girl from Loganville. So wanted to get up this way, knew a lot of people in Oconee, heard great things about it. And so have been here ever since 2009.
What's your wife's name?
Carrie.
Okay.
Yep.
How many kids?
3 kids. So Jackson, Paisley, Kate, and Noah. 13, 12, and 11.
Okay, you're right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of it. And as we were talking about earlier, we are at peak sports right now.
Yeah,
we have
I hear you.
Events and games going on just about every night right now. So when we moved to the Oconee area, it was during the Great Recession. I had projects in South Georgia, Middle Georgia, North Georgia, and the Alabama Gulf Coast. Decided to get back small again, and that's when I started buying foreclosed homes and doing renovations and then reselling them.
Yeah.
And so, it went from kind of large land development projects and redevelopment projects. 2009 got small again, and just started buying foreclosures. And from 2009 through 2019, we purchased, renovated, and sold over 100 homes, primarily in the Athens area, 5 Points area, Normaltown.
I took a tour
Beechwood,
a couple of those
Glenwood.
homes. I think at Christmas.
Okay.
Some of them were like featured around Christmas time or tour homes and that sort of thing. Yeah, I remember that.
So, so that was just a great time, and then during that time frame, during that 10-year span, I also took on average 1 commercial project per year.
Wow.
So that would be anything from an old office building that we would renovate and then lease up and then sell it to another buyer after we would buy it and do all the work, or an apartment complex, or oftentimes another very fun project we did was the Thaxton Turkey Hatchery in downtown Watkinsville, in the city of Watkinsville. It was an old turkey hatchery built in in the 50s
Right.
by the Thaxton family.
Yep.
And I partnered with them, and we moved out all the equipment, and it had stuff that had been in there for 50 years, and did an adaptive reuse on it, and now it's home to Empire South and Peach State Pride and New Creation Soda Company, and so that was another really fun project.
It's amazing to me. I was talking to somebody this morning about this, but the journey of someone's, career, you start in a certain area and you have no idea, where that's going to be. And it always turns out so much different than what you originally envisioned. And because, experiences and economic conditions or whatever it might be, and you talked about a couple of things that were sort of the crown jewels of you becoming, what you are today. And you would have never predicted that you would have done a motorhome, park during the recession, and that would have been one of the things that you're most proud of. I don't think if you rewind the clock when you first started that you would have even thought about that. So it's just really cool to sort of see the journey of individuals and kind of how that takes and the twists and turns that and kind of build your experience levels over the course of time.
I'll interject here.
Sure.
That's I think about that often because a lot of you hear a lot of development folks talk about having a very laser-focused mentality on what you're doing, and that's very important. But I think sometimes people get into trouble when they don't consider being flexible also. So, when I think back on my career, many of the projects or decisions that ended up turning out well were because I was willing to be flexible and pivot to doing something else.
Yes.
And so, obviously you do want to be laser focused on what you're doing. You do want to have a very, small and strict set of things that you're focused on. But I think it's also important to balance that with thinking about the market and doing what the market it's like in basketball. I always tell my basketball players, you got to do what the defense gives you. You got to do what the defense gives you, and so you got to think about the market and pivot when the market's telling you to maybe do to do something a little different.
Well, that's a great point. And I think what you're referring to is to always be opportunistic and to evaluate your surroundings and opportunities. And going back to 2009, the opportunities there versus 2024, a lot different, right? You wouldn't take the same approach, but I think you don't want to become so rigid.
That's right.
In something that you fail to become opportunistic and take appropriate risks and chances and things of that nature. Would love to spend a few minutes and talk about Wire Park. Before we do that, though, leadership. I'm a student of leadership. I love to talk to those who have led people and built organizations. What are 2 or 3 key leadership lessons that you've learned over your career?
My father was a big leadership guy. He passed away about 18 years ago, but he had something that he would say on his morning announcements as the kids are getting settled into their classrooms, and he would always close it out with this saying. He would say, do what's right, be the best you can be, and treat others the way you want to be treated. And I think about that every day because a true leader embraces those 3 things. Do what's right, even when, do the right thing when you nobody's even watching. Be the best you can be at whatever you're doing, because people are always watching you. People are always looking at you. Even when you don't, even when you don't think they are. And then treat others the way you want to be treated. And I think if you can if you can be successful at doing those three things, you're going to be a good leader.
You know, when I study some of the greatest leaders, it really goes back to a lot of those character traits that you're referring to that makes them great. That's what people remember. It's not necessarily the big things that they accomplished. It's how they treat other people and the way they go about doing things. And I'm a big believer in that. And so often I think we get distracted as leaders and we fail to think in that, that light. And those are some valuable words of wisdom that your father gave and instilled in you. You still remember those to this day and live by them. So that's really cool. Well, let's take a few minutes. We got just a few minutes left here and talk about Wire Park. So when did you first have that vision? How did that come about? And take us back to today in 2024.
Yeah, so the Wire Park was formerly known as Southwire. Prior to that, it was known as General Cable, and prior to that, way back, it was known as Anaconda Wire and Cable Company. So the main building on the site is a 250,000 square foot former wire manufacturing facility. It's a massive building, and to put it in perspective, the building is 5 acres. So it operated as a wire facility for about 50 years, and it was a huge economic driver for the entire county for many decades. And it shut down in 2011 permanently. And rode by it all the time and just would kind of look at it and think, man, I'd love to do something with it. It's just sitting there. It's just, nothing's going on. It's massive 66-acre tract in the city of Watkinsville right here. And I would love to say that I sought it out and went and dug and found the owner and called it, but it didn't happen that way. A broker walked into my office one day randomly and said, "Hey, would you like to buy the Southwire building?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." That's how it started. So that was April of 2019, so almost 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So we spent the entire rest of 2019 in planning and purchased the property December of 2019 and have been very busy working and developing and building it into what you see today for the last 4 years. So
what's your 5-year vision? If you could look forward 5 years for Wire Park, what does it look like?
In 5 years, Wire Park will have come to full fruition, and we believe it will be a premier gathering destination for Northeast Georgia. So we like to use the word gather because when we started building Wire Park, the COVID pandemic hit. And, we all remember this. There was a time when we were so ready to get back out and have face-to-face conversations with people.
Sure, yeah.
And it really impacted the design of Wire Park because, we're all so connected through technology and social media and all these things, but it feels as though we're more disconnected than ever face-to-face.
Yes.
And so the central part of the project is all about gathering. We built a big pavilion and a bunch of turf areas and just put chairs out and created these little gathering spaces to encourage people to just come, slow down a little bit, and hang out. So for those who don't know, Wire Park is a mixed-use development. It's retail, restaurants, fitness, service salons, pretty much any commercial and retail use you can think of, as well as commercial office. And then it also has 130 residences that will be on the property where people will be living there in the form of both attached and single-family housing products. Mm-hmm. So it's a true mixed-use development. And the primary mission is to just create a gathering place for people, to build relationships, to go hang out with friends, to meet new friends. And so that's what gets us excited about it. And we believe in 5 years it will have achieved that goal of being a premier gathering place for our community.
Yeah, we talk a lot in our bank about connection and the power of connection. And even with remote working and what COVID did, it's more important than ever that you become very intentional about building connection, because we're all meant for that. We're all we're built for community. We're built to be together. Even extroverts, introverts aside, I mean, everyone wants community. Everyone wants to feel connected. I love that vision that you're painting there, and you feel that. I mean, I've been out there several times, and I think the gatherings and things that on the weekends and the various events. And I know my son and daughter-in-law took our little grandbaby out there during Christmas with little train rides and everything there, and it's a great place for families to be connected. And it seems that you feel that vision will just expand over time as you complete the apartments and the other things that you have going there. And that's really cool. So what's on the horizon? What's next for Duke Gibbs? What else you got that you're working on that you can share?
Well, we're finishing up 2 other projects right now. Actually, we just completed a new single-family subdivision in Oconee County called Andorra. It's a gated 5-acre lot community that we have just brought to the market, and it's doing well. And we're also finishing up a 30,000 square foot flex building over near the Athens Mall in Athens, and completing that and leasing it up. Wire Park is keeping us extremely busy. So we are keeping our eye on that ball right now. We want to see it through to completion with some of that laser focus that we were talking about earlier. And so we talk a little bit about the future, but at the same time we are really honed in on what we're doing with Wire Park right now.
How can those that don't know, maybe listen to this, that don't know a lot about Wire Park, how can they find more information on Wire Park?
So they can go to wirepark.net. It's the website. We're very active on Instagram, have a big following on Instagram already, just, Wire Park.
That's good. That's good. I'd encourage anyone who hasn't been there to go check it out. Check out the website, but go check out the facility. It is a great place to hang out, and some good restaurants and great gathering places. And I know 18-degree weather doesn't help, but I think this spring in particular, I mean, you should see a lot, particularly with the housing there that you're finishing up. So as we close out, we always like to do a lightning round, just some random questions that I'd love to hear from you. Just respond, first thing that comes to mind. You talk about podcasts that you started listening to. What are a couple of your favorite podcasts?
So I'm a big fan of Ed Milet. He's just a development guy. That's the business world is tough, and you have to keep feeding yourself with positive things, and he's a good one for that.
That's good. What's the most impactful piece of advice you've been given over your life?
When I was finishing up college and had those side hustles going and was looking in 15 different directions as to what I wanted to do, I called my uncle, who was a successful businessman, and he said, "Duke, don't be a jack of all trades. Be an expert at one thing."
How about that?
And that is definitely the best business advice I've ever received.
Sounds like you took that advice and are doing a good job with it in the real estate world. So, last question. What is the most recent show you have binge watched?
Oh, I'm going to disappoint you guys. I'm not a show watcher. I don't watch a lot of TV.
You don't watch a lot of TV?
I don't.
What do you do for fun?
Man,
what's your thing?
I mean, I do watch some basketball games on TV. I'm a fan of the NBA. But I'm not a show watcher.
Not a show watcher.
Nope.
Well, that's the way it goes. So I've never been a show watcher, I'm assuming. You're working too hard, man. You got too much else going on.
That's right.
Anyway, well, listen, brother, it has been a privilege and a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for the community, for the city of Watkinsville, for Oconee County, for even beyond the boundaries of our county, but in all the real estate and everything that you have going. And so have a great reputation, and thank you for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. And as we sign off, one final question. In your opinion, what does it mean to be remarkable?
Great question. And I love the logo. When I was looking at the logo, you have Mark kind of highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the word Mark, I immediately thought of the word impact.
Mm.
And I believe making your mark is about having impact in a positive way in whatever you're doing, and positively impacting primarily the lives of those that you're interacting with.
Amen. Great answer. All the listeners, go to Wire Park. Go have lunch. Go hang out.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all have a good day. See you.